Hello and welcome to the PowerSwitch, gaming's call-in talk radio show. My name is Peter Spezia, and today is now June 12th, 2017, because it is almost 1 a.m. here. This is the Bethesda E3 2017 reaction podcast. I'm going to have you guys call in at rhymeswithasia.com/call very soon.
Yeah.
But Scott White from DashingNerds.com is joining me here.
Hey again, everybody.
We're keeping it a little mellow, usually, compared to past podcasts. But with it being so early in the morning here in Eastern Time, we do have people sleeping in this house at the moment. So kind of got to keep it a little chill. And we'll keep things a little bit on the brief side because Bethesda kept things on the brief side today. So I wanted to kind of go over each of the things here with you, Scott, before we get to our callers, and then we'll talk to you guys for a bit, and then call it a show. We're 3 out of 6 so far out of the big 6 conferences for E3 2017, and let's see what we thought about Bethesda here. We started out with, I guess the whole theme was Bethesda Land. And granted, we had some technical difficulties on our end.
Like with YouTube, it kept resetting back to portions. It was very strange. I don't know what was going on, and
very unusual. So portions were replaying, and then we were jumping to forward to future parts. So what we could gather was they started out with VR. Finally got the Doom VFR, as I started to scribble, Doom VR, and it's like, no, it's VFR, like the BFG, like, oh, okay, all right, VFR, and then Fallout 4 VR. I thought out of the two, Doom showed better, because you had, the moving with the left,
the pointer,
move that, as you normally can do with these VR games, and then with your right arm, you're aiming the gun, and so that seems like it worked a lot better. When you're moving as you were being shown in Fallout 4 VR, I don't know how that was necessarily being done without motion sickness. I think that didn't demo as well in video. Yeah,
I don't think they made it as clear, but it does appear that Doom is like a VR, like a very. It was built specifically for VR. It seemed more like a VR experience, probably a more fleshed out one. I'm not saying it's just like a demo or something, but they made it out to be that Fallout 4 VR will be the full Fallout 4 game in VR. With no, outside of the new heads-up display and everything, nothing really changed. And you have like the touchpad on the Vive controllers and stuff, so you'll still be able to move around, of course.
No, it'll be entirely possible. I think that shows some good premise, but it'll take some hands-on time from people at E3 to show what it's actually possible. The Elder Scrolls Online Morrowind, I want to say like that was either like just out or comes out very soon.
Morrowind came out a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, so interesting to see that covered again. It transitioned into the Creation Club, which they talked about creating mods for Skyrim, special edition for Fallout 4, and it seemed to be more of a centralized process.
Yeah, it seems like it's a more user friendly, like in game you can look through things more, an easier way to specifically find the types of mods. They mentioned that they'll split things up by the types they are and things along those lines, and it's for Fallout 4 and Skyrim special editions. So.
Great for those that care, but not for everybody. We also had the Elder Scrolls Legends, which was the card game.
They announced that it's coming to Android and iPhone next week, I want to say.
And next month, I think.
Oh, next month. And then at the end of the month, they have the Skyrim expansion, Heroes of Skyrim.
Yeah, so again, they're trying to appease mobile. It didn't seem that too much was going on with Fallout Shelter. It's not like they're applying updates there, but if they're continuing something like a CCG, you got to keep feeding the beast, keep giving updates there, and so that works. Probably one of the bigger surprises of the night was not only showing Skyrim on Switch, but the use of a Breath of the Wild Link amiibo to put Link costume in the game.
From the Breath of the Wild and the Master Sword and the Highland.
Holy cow!
It's like, that's
just
cool.
like that's a neat touch, and I shouldn't be surprised when it came to things like Bayonetta. Now, granted, not Bethesda at all, but when you saw Bayonetta with the different Nintendo costumes and the amount of work that went with that with a Nintendo partnership, like it should make sense. Like I was,
and there's so many mods already out there for the Master Sword and Hylian Shield. It's not that outlandish, but it's cool. I'm hoping that other amiibos will also have functionality.
I agree. That'd be
cool. They only showed the horse version of Link from Breath of the Wild. I want to say, I think it was the horse one.
And now I'm just imagining like Captain Falcon in Skyrim, like
the Falchion or the Levin Sword or something from Fire Emblem or
that too.
Things along those lines.
I was thinking of Falcon punching dragons in the face. But
there's that, or Captain Falcon's helmet.
That too. That could be cool. Really neat as well. But good to see that touch as well. Dishonored, Death of the Outsider, coming September 15th. Looks like standalone DLC, because you mentioned this is a character from Dishonored 2.
And the Outsider is also one of the main guys from the first game as well. He's been in both. He's what gives you the powers.
Oh, okay.
Like the powers of Emily and Corvo are the powers of the Outsider.
Interesting. Okay, so, this is my lack of Bethesda game knowledge working against me here, but it didn't seem like a full new game. I got the feeling
there'll be new locations and story and stuff. Kind of what they did for the Brigmore Witches, I want to say, of the first game and things along those lines. So I think you'll get a new area.
I didn't get the feeling like it was a full-fledged game, though. Maybe just like a standalone, DLC sort of thing, almost like an Infamous First Light, sort of thing. Just
that's usually how they've previously done their the DLC little mini campaigns. It's like 1 or 2 part. There'll probably be a second DLC that finishes up that story or something along those lines. But no gameplay. It was just pre-rendered. Like a CG movie. Yeah,
which is it's fine. I'm sure people are familiar with how it's going to look at least. We saw Quake Champions at the beginning of last year's Bethesda show, and it's kind of the arena-based shooter, team-based.
Right.
Interesting quirks this year. We have the BJ Blazkowicz as a playable character.
That's the Wolfenstein character.
Very interesting twist. Talking about World Championships at QuakeCon. The game is still in beta, so I'd imagine at QuakeCon they'll talk about when a final release is coming up.
Especially with them doing the Quake World Champion esports event or whatever that they touted. It was more of... It seemed like it was much more of a hold off for QuakeCon thing, which isn't surprising.
Get that $1 million pot, so there you go. Yeah. And then it's the 2 areas under construction, and if you've been following rumors in the game industry, and if you've been following the yes or no questions on this podcast, I mean, it's pretty easy to tell what it was.
Hidden.
No. So there was a Reddit ad like this morning for The Evil Within 2. So that dropped. Quite the trailer. Only really showed gameplay at the very end.
Right.
But odd themes with children being set on fire and white goo.
Yeah.
That comes Friday the 13th, October 13th, later this year. So okay, coming this year, that's good. Not saying just 2018.
That's one thing Bethesda definitely does do well. They announce games and they are out that year.
And then you had to feel like, okay, well, if we saw Evil Within 2, Wolfenstein's probably around the corner, so they're saying one more thing, and then we're seeing a girl in the field with this metal robot called Liesel, and it's like, okay, Liesel's an interesting name, but when they start playing, they're like, oh, it's great to be German, TV shows, all right, now it's clear we're getting into Wolfenstein territory. A lot of interesting looks, like when they're talking one more thing of just something on the horizon, I didn't expect the in-depth kind of nature that this went to, but Wolfenstein II, the new Colossus. Again, it's
the one they teased last year, just in name alone. That we got the official announcement, and that's coming out October 27th. Also, another fairly decent sized Bethesda game in October.
Yeah, And yeah, interesting that they put it in the same month.
Literally, it's 2 weeks after.
Yeah, that is unusual to come to think of it. Also, this game title leaked on Amazon Germany of all places. So the Wolfenstein II name was known for quite a bit.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah,
40 minutes.
Okay. Thanks for joining us.
Short and sweet. It kind of makes me, in a way, think of Nintendo, because Nintendo's going to have, in a couple days, a 25-minute presentation that, Reggie's been on record as saying, it's going to be short and sweet, keeping things moving, reveal quite a bit of things. But, wow. I didn't expect it to be
I was
this
hoping
short.
we would get some sort of tease on something next year,
if Bethesda Studios is working on a new IP that people are saying is rumored to be called Starfield, show us a tease for 2018. It's kind of interesting that you say and everything is here for 2017, but here's something just to tease your appetite for the future,
or even like a little teaser or Easter egg like they did with Colossus last year, to get people kind of, what's that? I wonder what that is.
Yeah,
but.
So
no such luck.
I guess not.
And I mean, so many times we mention it's like, people announce things too late or too soon, and it's years before we actually see it. Bethesda, I do have to give them credit. They announce things and it's out this year. They hold things fairly close to the chest until they're pretty well on in development, and they'll be out in the next few months. Yeah.
So, grade. What is your thoughts on that?
I think just with how, I don't want to say necessarily poorly, but how just kind of easy it was to tell what they were going to announce, I'm going to have to say a C+. I mean, the games look good. Wolfenstein looked really good. I'm interested about the Dishonored DLC. I never played Evil Within 1, so I was really confused by watching Evil Within 2.
Yeah.
So, I think it looks interesting. We know what Fallout is. We know what Doom is. We know what Morrowind is. We know what Legends is. So, the only things we really haven't seen anything of were those last two under construction things. Everything else was very rehashed.
A lot of known quantities, and that's why I'm going to give it a C.
Yeah.
It was great to see the new games actually confirmed, actually see them in motion, get them out of get them out of the rumor mill in a way and into actual reality. Mm-hmm. However, 40 minutes was a little shocking. It was don't end there. I get it. Here's what you have this year, but what about next year? It felt like Bethesda was doing a conference just because they have done one for the last couple years.
Right.
And I don't think with these kind of announcements that you needed to do that.
No, there wasn't anything worthwhile that warranted it. I mean, to have really only two new items that no one had seen before, it wasn't worth it, I don't think, for sure.
And I think Wolfenstein in particular is going to be great. It's building off of a great pedigree. And I'm really interested to see what happens with VR. But I feel like this...
It wasn't the avenue.
The presentation was a little forced.
Yeah.
Especially when, you look at the real meat of it, and it was Nintendo Direct-like, which was I thought was fascinating. You gather people in the arena to have Pete Hines trot out in the beginning and ending, and then you're just showing a Nintendo Direct to them, essentially. That it was so unusual. So yeah, I thought the presentation was fun, but kind of all over the place in tone, and just short and not necessarily needed. So I'm gonna give it a C, just kind of middle of the road.
I would say it's been the weakest one that we've seen.
Out of the three so far. Yeah.
Out of the three, it was definitely the weakest, just because everything was very much a known quantity.
Yeah, I would agree. Well, what do you think? We would love to hear what you think about Bethesda at E3 2017. I'm starting to lose it.
We're starting to ramble.
It's getting so tired here. But when we come back, we'll get to the callers. Let us know what you think, and remember, you can let us know what another caller has to say as well. Give your feedback on that as well. That's all when we come back here on the Power Switch. Welcome back to the Power Switch. Now, when it comes to our 50 E3 yes or no questions, there were two in particular for Bethesda. And one of them was, will we see a sequel to either The Evil Within or Wolfenstein? Yep, check and check. That would be yes. And the other one was, will we see, Doom 4, oh my god, I'm so tired, Fallout 4 VR or Doom VR demonstrated on stage by someone wearing an actual headset VR? Nope, just video. So that would be a no. So interesting to compare those, but let's get here to the callers. What do you have to think about Bethesda at E3 2017? Joining us from Alaska, DQP, welcome back to the Power Switch.
Hello. It's good to be here again.
Welcome back to the show.
Yeah. Kind of distracted because I'm watching Devolver at the same time as I'm here with you.
How is that going?
It's going. It's the best I can say.
All right. Well, I'll have to watch it in the morning.
Catch it in the morning. Yeah.
Yeah. Something with the PC show and Devolver. It's just like, sorry, not in the coverage cards this year, guys.
Maybe next year if this proves to not fall flat.
So, what did you think about Bethesda?
I thought it was interesting. I mean, I'm speaking as somebody who likes a lot of Bethesda's work. I like the idea of playing through Fallout 4 in its entirety in virtual reality. I think that's pretty dang impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Doom VR is a good concept. I'm just not sure that they're executing on it very well. But aside from that, I think I have yet to play Dishonored 2, but I have high hopes that the expand-alone thing will be more of the same. Sorry, I'm just watching Devolver be Devolver. But my favorite game of the show so far has got to be Wolfenstein 2.
Yeah,
it looks impressive.
Did either of you play The New Order?
I started The New Order, and then something happened to my save file, and I've been meaning to get back to it. But that's a game where it has a really rough intro. Like
it really does.
The tutorial levels are really and I think I was just at the precipice of like getting past it, and something messed up badly with Steam.
Oh yeah, I have not.
Oh wow,
I have not touched it yet. So
a guy's arm just got cut off on stage at Devolver. This is a conference. There are kids in the audience.
I mean, as long as it doesn't reach, Konami 2010 levels, I think.
1 million.
Wow. Okay. Back on topic. It's hard to focus, man. But Wolfenstein II, the new Colossus, it looks really, really good. I can't wait to play it. They announced it again right before it comes out, as Bethesda does.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably the most impressive thing about it all is, say, like, for both of these two new games, it's just, they're coming at the end of the year. It's a few months away.
Well, that's just something that Bethesda, I think, just likes to do, is they wait until their games are good and ready to go before they formally announce them, which I think is noble, considering how everybody else in the industry is like, we're going to show you 5 seconds of Anthem and expect you to tune into a different conference to maybe learn something more about it.
Hey, Anthem looks pretty sweet. Don't you be bad talking Anthem.
It's not my kind of game. I'm going to go on an EA tangent here. I heard new BioWare IP, and I'm like, oh boy, this looks awesome. And they showed like the 5 seconds, and I'm like, ooh, this actually looks kind of... And then they got to the Microsoft conference, and I'm like, okay, this looks pretty okay. And then the other players show up, and they start doing like that fake mic talk, and I'm just like, oh no.
Yeah.
It's one of those games.
One of those presentations along with it too.
I don't think the fake talk is so much against anthems as much as they just don't know how to show things like that.
Yeah. But anyway, back to Wolfenstein. Please, if you find it during a sale, play through The New Order, because it's very, very good, and it's one of my favorite shooters from the past 5 years.
Good to know. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, I hear lots of good things about it, and I really do want to get back to it. But yeah, awesome to see its sequel finally confirmed after being in DOS text for a whole year. So
yeah,
I don't know. I'm just happy that Bethesda continues to wait until their games are good and ready.
Well, it's good to hear. And DQP, thank you for calling in. I'll let you get back to watching this Devolver devolving into itself.
It's a oh my god! Even muted, this thing is just a train wreck.
Is there anything you want to plug?
My YouTube channel, Super DQP. I just finished a video where I spend 18 minutes talking about why Paper Mario is really, really good. So if you need convincing, which you shouldn't, go check that out.
Absolutely. Well, thanks again for calling in. Hope you have a great rest of the E3, and hopefully get to talk to you again soon.
Yeah.
Yep. Get some sleep tonight, guys. I know it's late for you guys.
We will.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
Joining us from Illinois, Video Game Guru 64. Welcome back to the PowerSwitch.
Hello.
Hello. What are your thoughts on Bethesda?
I personally think they got me hyped for a lot of games. They got me hyped for Wolfenstein II, Evil Within 2, and because I'm mainly a Nintendo guy and I don't have a lot of other consoles, Elder Scrolls.
Skyrim on Switch?
Skyrim? Yeah.
Yeah, what was that like for you, seeing Link show up there?
Yeah, that kind of, why would you do this? But sure. I guess if happened to get Skyrim on Switch, then sure. But still.
It's probably the closest thing to a mod they'll have on the system, or on that version.
Entirely possible.
And they probably have a plethora of Master Sword and Hylian Shield mods already up there, so it's like, can we use this?
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Good idea. We'll do that.
Yeah. I was watching the Easy Allies stream of that.
Okay, yeah, they're good guys. Yeah.
They said it's for like the hyper Nintendo fans, or is it for like, who is it for?
People who have a Switch that want a new game.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, that's
People
true.
that are fans of Elder Scrolls and things like that will already have probably had Skyrim by this point, considering it's...
Yeah.
But then you also need to factor in that it also has to be people who have the amiibo, so it's another layer on top of that. I mean, it's just a fun little thing. It's not needed to play the game, so...
Not needed.
And they still haven't said if it's a special edition or not.
I think the graphics were up, but I don't know.
Yeah, and I think the logo also just said Skyrim, like didn't say special edition on the screen. We had so many technical difficulties watching that stream, so it could have been a whole host of reasons. Anything in particular jump out at you? It seems to be that Wolfenstein 2 and the Evil Within 2 are like the big takeaways from this one. Anything in particular jump out at you for that?
I guess Wolfenstein looks... I feel it looks better than Wolfenstein 1, but yeah.
There's a lot of cool action, and it really, really catches your attention there. I think the way they went about presenting it at first is very unusual. But it's one of those, like, when it clicks, like it really hits you, and it's very interesting. Well, Video Game Guru, we're keeping things pretty brief here tonight because we're so exhausted. But I do appreciate your Nintendo feedback on the Switch. Anything you'd like to plug in particular?
I think it's on Tuesday, but the Japan Time podcast. If you remember that from your news days.
I do remember Japan Time. I know they're back and they're covering more than just Brawl, so that's good for them. I'm glad to see them make a return.
And they just started last week, so they should be going on this week too. So,
all right, well, definitely check out the new Japan Time podcast. And Video Game Guru 64, thanks so much for calling in. Have a great rest of the E3, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, see ya.
See ya
later. Joining
us from New Jersey, Matt. Welcome back to the PowerSwitch.
Hey, it's 1:22 a.m.
God,
it is, isn't it?
We're talking for the second time today. You've joined us on all of our podcasts so far. Do appreciate that. And it's way too late. But what's going on in your neck of the gaming woods?
Well, Devolver's here.
Yeah, seems to be the trend.
I'm not totally sure that this isn't some wild fever dream that I'm having.
I can't wait to watch it when I'm more alert and more awake.
I don't recommend it.
Well, there's a lot of time to kill before Ubisoft and Sony tomorrow.
There's lots of time.
What is on your mind on Bethesda this evening?
It was real cool to see them open up with 2 VR experiences. I've mentioned before when I've been on the show that I am a happy owner of the HTC Vive, and I really want to see VR take off and get really successful. VR's biggest problem is going to be getting the AAA support in, because it's in this weird premium enthusiast space, and I'm pretty sure another thing that I've said before is that it is definitely not at mainstream level yet, because of the high cost of entry. And seeing, it's like a chicken and the egg scenario where we're gonna need those really good experiences before the market share goes up, but the market share is not going to go up until we get those really big experiences. So I'm very happy to see that Bethesda's kind of taking the first step in making that happen. Whether or not they're making good choices on the actual games themselves, because frankly, Fallout VR looks like motion sickness central.
Yeah, I mean, when I don't know how they're moving, it makes sense when you have the teleportation for moving. Like, that's how it works in Batman, Arkham VR. I mean, that's how it worked when you're watching it in Doom, and you can see I get how the mechanics work, but when you're just moving, what? No.
That's something that a lot of people don't realize about VR, is that any motion, and even if it's not like super fast, like any motion at all that is not motion you're doing in real life, that's going to be motion sickness.
Yeah, it's just a huge disconnect.
It is a disconnect. I worked on a project in VR using the HTC Vive at one of my previous jobs, where we had to create a environment we had to move around in, and we did the client wanted, where we used the touchpad and we would zoom around, and it took a little getting used to. Dialing that in was a bit of a challenge, to be sure.
Mm-hmm.
But doable. It's definitely doable.
Yeah, that was the biggest takeaway, because in general I kind of don't care about the Bethesda games as much. But I think they had a good conference overall, albeit very short, and the presentation was very weird. They showed off some of their biggest heavy hitters, and last year they had a 100% track record of games that came out by today. Every single game that they showed last year is available to purchase and play. So that's a big part of why their conference was so short and why they have few things to announce, because they announce things when they're damn near ready.
They are really great on that front, that's for sure.
I think that's about as much as I can manage to put together into coherent thought at 1:30 in the morning.
Well, I appreciate it, and always good to hear your thoughts on VR as another VR user. Keep playing that Overwatch, as we've been talking about, as far as things to plug.
I've pretty much called it a weekend on Overwatch. The main reason I was doing it was to get coins for the anniversary skins, and the anniversary event ends tomorrow. So I am all set. Well, not all set. I didn't get the Genji Super Sentai skin, but I'm as set as I can get.
Fair enough. Well, continue to watch Devolver, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's over already.
Oh, well.
Oh.
Just like that.
I'd like literally in the entire time, like I'm playing Super Hot right now, so I wasn't totally paying attention, but every time I looked over, it was something that wasn't a game. And I was listening it through one ear, and they were just making jokes that appear to be some attempt at a Black Mirror episode about E3. But not nearly as well written as an actual Black Mirror episode.
Speaking of Super Hot, that's a game I want to play in VR. I know they have a VR version. Like, I do want to play that really badly.
It's you have to buy it separately though.
I know, what the fuck is that?
For $30.
Oh, man, that's crazy. But no, I really do want to play that. But Matt, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Have a great night. Get some good sleep.
Good night.
And joining us from North Carolina, Damon. Welcome back to the PowerSwitch.
Thank you. I feel welcome. Yeah, it's the super late night edition, so
Say, admittedly, a little tired, I'm sure, but
oh yeah.
What are your thoughts on Bethesda?
I was a pretty big fan of the conference. It wasn't like I mean, it was shockingly short.
Yeah.
And there wasn't anything I would call like a megaton or anything like that. But, you know, I liked what I saw. I don't know if you guys are like okay with this, but I really want to kind of like examine Ubisoft's approach versus EA's approach to their conferences, if that's cool with you.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I much preferred Ubisoft's. I mean, excuse me. Wow, late night edition.
That shows you. I thought we were going like totally off track here, but okay.
Yeah, my bad. I really like Bethesda's approach. I guess more so than EA's, because Bethesda just kind of kept it short and sweet. They showed you what games they had to show off, and they got the F out of there when they were done.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
EA, it dragged on a bit long for me. I mean, especially since the last half hour was entirely better, but they didn't even show what I would think is their biggest game in Anthem. They saved that for Microsoft.
Yeah, passing that off like that was really unusual.
That was an interesting choice.
Yeah, I don't know how much money Microsoft gave them for that, but it was enough.
I think part of it too is that EA, it's like they're still trying to figure out the live presentation style. Like, how do we seem cool while we're presenting things? Do we bring in celebrities? Do we bring in YouTube influencers? Like, how? Like, yeah. We've been doing these for several years now. We should know how to do this. And Bethesda was like, well, maybe there's something to the pre-recorded format.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something here. So, yeah, as odd as I thought it to be, maybe it's Bethesda kind of just saying, all right, let's change things up. We only have so much to show. I mean, it is so strange to invite media into a room just to say hi, play along video, bye,
and to have it be so late.
Yeah, that too. I mean, I'm sure it's fine for the party animals out there on the West Coast, but my God, not here. No way.
Not on a Sunday night.
I don't want to be the Nintendo head that says, everybody kind of follows Nintendo's ideas and tries to improve on them. But it doesn't seem entirely off base, at least from what Bethesda did, because, you're right, this was mostly pre-recorded, and the pacing just felt better to me. It's really interesting, those little things they were doing between game reveals, the Bethesda land. What they did before they showed off Wolfenstein, me and my older brother were just kind of wondering what Bethesda smoked before they made this game. I mean, they made that. Well, yeah, no, before they made the game.
Yeah, it's so out of nowhere, but it made a lot of sense. Like with Germany taking over and all that kind of alternate history sort of thing. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, once I knew what the game was, I'm like, okay, yeah. So it was very interesting. It kept me engaged with the way they did it, whereas EA's it did not for me. Like, even though I guess objectively EA's conference wasn't bad, it just was kind of there for me, whereas Bethesda's kind of captured me, even though I might not play 95% of what was there, but it was still very interesting to see.
Right, and I think, just one more thing with the pre-recorded format, any humor that was infused in it was specifically intended and written because it is funny and it is tacky in a specific thematic way.
Right.
When the EA presenters were trying to be funny, it was based on teleprompter, and they were doing a poor job at reading. They weren't used to
dealing with people in that large of a crowd, and they were out of their elements.
When you're playing to actual people, there's a big difference, especially when you struggle with reading on teleprompter versus something that is specifically written and executed for a specific effect.
Oh yeah,
and it's completely different in that regard. So yeah,
or if you're a YouTuber who's never been on a stage before,
right. What do you guys think of Need for Speed Payback? Boogers suck.
Exactly.
So, I think Bethesda, when you compare the two, they definitely had a better presentation, but
not worth a conference.
Yeah. I don't know if it was worth doing one this year. Maybe they just want to keep the streak alive. I don't know. Maybe you have something big next year. Maybe you start to tease Elder Scrolls 6 at the end of next year. You start to hint that out a bit. I don't know. Hard to say.
Yeah.
So, Damon, thank you so much for calling in. We're gonna start wrapping things up here. It's just been one of those shows, these very, very late nights, early mornings. But anything you want to plug? I mean, we talked to you earlier this morning, or today.
Yeah, still haven't changed anything since then. But
no, you're good.
I don't think this is a plug, but I would like to mention that nighttime in North Carolina is creepy as hell if you're from the city. Because in New York City there are lights. There are no lights out here. I don't know what is in the trees, but it's scaring me, and I need to hurry and return to my home. So avoid nighttime in North Carolina, kids. Public service announcement.
That is good to know. It's good to know.
Write that down.
I want to make it down to North Carolina sometime. I go around all these different states for work, and it's like that's one place I want to.
My aunt and uncle live in North Carolina.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, good to know to avoid nighttime there.
Yeah, I'll be sure to let them know too.
All right. Thanks so much, Damon. You have a great rest of the E3. We'll talk to you soon.
Yep, for sure. Thank you for having me.
All right, Scott. It's one of those. It's one of those podcasts.
Yep.
Where you have the idea like, yeah, we're gonna do this. We're gonna cover something that starts at midnight. It ends mercifully early in a way.
I know. I was
sake.
Anticipating it was gonna end at like 1:30.
And now it's a low energy show that's been documented for all time.
It's on the internet forever now.
There you go. While two people sleep in the same house and we try not to wake them. That's gonna work great. DashingNerds.com. We can,
Yeah, tomorrow we'll be back with Sony's conference. I'm very much looking forward to that.
Oh, yeah. You want to talk about presentation.
Ubisoft. Yeah.
Presentation, they're going to nail it at Sony.
Ubisoft, I'm looking forward to. They'll probably show more about Assassin's Creed. Mm-hmm. Probably get some other games, and then one game that we could never have anticipated.
Yeah.
That they like to seem to do every year.
Absolutely. And we'll have the before show and during show commentary at facebook.com/dashingnerds.
Yep. And after that, we'll be back here on PowerSwitch to take your guys' call and give our grades for them.
Yeah, it's been fun to do these kind of quick turnaround shows, and that's what the format is for, to get you guys tuned in and watching and then reacting and getting that real time feedback. It's a whole lot of fun. You gotta turn around the editing though, and that's always part of it with especially E3. It's going well so far, I think. So thank you guys for that. Let's wrap things up and go the fuck to sleep. For Scott White, I am Peter Spezia. With that, switch up, call in, game on,
go to sleep.